Kirsten and I'm bringing to you today a rainbow of books. This is books with a different colour cover rather than books that necessarily fit a theme. It's just what the cover designer went with. So red, I've got just before the Eyre Affair with this lovely dodo on the front. This is a comedy version of an alternate universe where literary world is separate to the real world, but it's real as well. So the real world is what we know ish. Wales is a socialist republic. There's something about Swindon and cheese smuggling which I didn't quite get to the bottom of. Swindon is a very odd place. I only ever go through it on a train, maybe that's why I feel like that, but there you go. But in this book, the main character, Thursday Next, has to find Jane Eyre, who has been kidnapped. She has to work out what's going on and save the world, and she does it. There's a lot of cheese, there's a lot of dodos. The dodo is delightful, by the way. There's a cast of wonderful families, her missing fiance, it's all brilliant. It's a madcap mystery comedy, and if that sounds like your thing, or you love Jane Eyre and just want a different take on it, this is a brilliant book. Orange, Moxieland by Lauren Biggs. Now the cover says, it's a new kind of SF munching its way out of the intestines of the wasp-paralysed caterpillar of cyberpunk. That's what Charlie Stross had to say on the subject. And I can't disagree with Charlie Stross. I mean, it's basically impossible to disagree with Charlie Stross, right? Right? Anyway, this is a brilliant book. It's set in South Africa. It's the first of Biggs is herself South African, and I didn't even realise that when I was reading her book set in America because they just felt so American to me. But this book is set in a hyper-capitalistic South Africa, and it's all about selling your art and your body and your talents for advertising. Got a great cast of characters, some great relationships, and it's a brilliant futuristic cyberpunk book. I absolutely loved it. So if you're into anything like that, or about what happens when capitalism goes wrong, this is the book for you. Yellow, Neil Stevenson's Anathem. Now this book, I call it the book with the clock and the road trip. My partner calls it the book with the monks, and I think he has something else in the monks. And that's basically what it's got. It's about an enclosed order where they look after a clock which keeps time for the rest of the world. It's outside the world is a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but inside the monastery it's all kind of cosy and safe, and everything's just carrying on as it has done for thousands of years. But then something goes wrong, and they have to leave and they have to find a solution, and it's about the culture shock coming from a really cosy place into this mad world where just everything's gone to pot and you have to get there's a road trip to save the world. It's a bit of a brick. It's well worth it. It's really gripping, really adventurous. And if you like road trip books or clocks or monks, then this is the book for you. Green, I had to cheat a bit. I couldn't find any books with a green cover that I hadn't already used. So I got Silmarillion. Now, my dad, when I was younger, he had some terrible advice. And one of his pieces of terrible advice was that you should never read Silmarillion. You should instead, when the urge takes you, read Lord of the Rings again. And it took me ages to realise that was probably why he always read Lord of the Rings back to back, like twice in a row. But I absolutely love this. This is the only book I've ever read back to back because I was so sad that it ended that I just went back to the beginning and started again. And it's a basic mythology of Middle Earth. It's a sort of mythic history. If you're interested in sagas, if you're interested in knowing more about the world of Tolkien, if you're interested in fairy tales, this is a brilliant book. This is the book for you. It is so beautiful. And don't take my dad's advice. Luke, consider Phlebas by Ian M. Banks. I'm still not sure whether that's meant to be Phlebas or Phlebas, so comment if you think. but I normally go with Flyverse. It's a Mill SF. It's the first in his Culture series. Culture is a massive galaxy spanning society culture, which is highly advanced both socially and technologically. This book is at the beginning. In the culture there are ships, normally with impressive, exciting names, and the ships have minds, they're artificial intelligence. At the beginning of this book, one of these ships gets destroyed and the mind that runs it escapes onto a planet which doesn't let either of the two warring factions on for historical reasons. So the race is on for the people from the culture to get back the mind before the enemies do. And there are pirates, there's war, there's epic space travel. Again, what Banks is really, really good at is characterisation and relationships between people. So it's this massive space opera which goes on for books and books and books, but they're not necessarily, you don't have to read one after the other. Purple, Sailing to Silmarillion by Guy Gabriel Kay. Fantasy based on the Byzantine Empire. I knew nothing about the Byzantine Empire when I first read it, so you don't really need that knowledge, but I guess it wouldn't hurt if you did happen to have that knowledge. People I know who do know about it still love the book. It's about a mosaicist who gets called to make a mosaic for the emperor, but they want something almost heretical, and he ends up getting drawn into politics in the centre and religion, and there's people trying to assassinate everyone, and in the middle of it there's just this architect of this beautiful building and the mosaicist just trying to produce something beautiful and long lasting and make a mark on society. And it's absolutely brilliant book. So if you like fantasy, or if you like people sitting in the middle of chaos trying to make sense of it, then this is a great book. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to do one of these videos yourself, obviously you could put any kind of book in here. This is brilliant. I would absolutely love to see your rainbow of books, and I will see you soon. Bye.